Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a warning for you to get ready now. This is actionable intel, which means that what I'm going to talk about right now is not happening as I speak, but it's something that is being predicted to happen this summer going into fall. So if you live in an area of the United States where it gets really hot in the summer months and you rely on air conditioner, i.e., and you rely on the grid in order to cool your home down, then you may want to consider getting a backup for your electricity needs. I've often said, and I still stand by this, that before you get any kind of a battery backup, you should always have at least a small gasoline or diesel or liquid propane or natural gas generator, an actual generator that has an internal combustion engine. And the reason I say get one of those first, my opinion of course, before you get something else like a solar generator, is because you have total control of how much gas you can store, then control over the sun coming out to power your solar generator via solar panels. Now, before I forget, ladies and gentlemen, I just put out a video earlier today reviewing the Opus Mega 5, which is a monster of a solar generator and at what I think is an awesome price. So check that video out. I'll leave it in the upper right hand corner so you can click on it after this one, and I'll leave it on a card towards the end of the video as well. But get a regular gas generator first, ladies and gentlemen. It's just going to be so much more reliable for you to have that gas on standby than to have to count on the sun in order to power your home. But today, for example, we have an overcast day. So if I was depending on solar in order to electrify my life, today would not be a very good day. So anyways, what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is intel that's letting you know, hey, you need to get ready, and you need to get ready now because summer is right around the corner. Energy Commissioner warns of major threats to the power grid. Now, we all know here in the United States, at least, that our power grid is aging. It's like a dinosaur. It doesn't really get maintained the way that it's supposed to be maintained in order to provide us with all of the additional power and all of the pressure that we're putting on it. Right now, especially, they want everything electric. They want you to get rid of your gas stove. They want you to get rid of your gas cars. They want you, and in California, I'm pretty sure that they want you to get rid of like your gas electric or your gas lawnmowers, things like that. Your gas weed whackers for like lawn maintenance. They want you to get rid of everything that's gas. But guess what? We just don't have enough solar in order to provide the energy that we need right now in order to switch over from one day to the other. And it seems that that's kind of like what they want to do. Right? Maybe not from one day to the other, but in too short of a time span for us to get the equal amount of energy from renewables than what we are getting now from fossil fuels, if you want to call it fossil fuels, gasoline, oil, etc. Right? So hope is a powerful energy, they say, but it won't keep the air conditioner on when summer temperatures soar and demand for electricity skyrockets, causing an overburdened electrical grid to grind to a stop. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think is going to happen if you don't maintain the grid? We don't, as a nation, we don't maintain our grid to the level that it should be maintained. What do you think is going to happen? Unfortunately, we are going to enter into third world country status, where brownouts and blackouts are going to be everyday things. It's like we're not going to be surprised that it happens. You know, I have a brother that lives in the Dominican Republic, and in the Dominican Republic, they get water once or twice a week. And when they get water twice a week, they're happy. So what they have to do is they have to have holding tanks, like on the roofs of their house or in their yards or something. That way, when the water utility is turned on for that area, it can at least fill their tanks with a couple of 100 gallons so that they can get by for the next several days before they allow water to get pumped back in again, right? And same thing with the electricity. Their electricity goes out all the time in DR. It goes out, I would say, talking to my brother, at least once a day it goes out. Every single day, sometimes for hours, sometimes for most of the day. So what do they do in order to combat that? The people that can't afford it, they get backups, battery backups for their homes. Right? So that's what we're going to need to do here. Get prepared now with your energy backups. Because as the years go on, ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to end overnight. This is not going to end. The fight against fossil fuels, and I know some people don't like me calling it fossil fuels. That's okay. Deal with it, right? You know what I mean. The fight against fossil fuels will not end. All right, it will not end, and our grid, I don't believe, will be maintained to a level that it needs to be at in order for us to be able to have electric vehicles and such. And another thing is that these components that make up solar generators, i.e., especially the batteries, they are going to cost more and more and more as the years go by. Why? Because of all this other green stuff that takes batteries, that is going to consume a very large part of the resources that we need just to build these batteries just for the generators, solar generators. So get them now while you can, while they're available, while they are at a price that maybe it seems a little bit expensive, but you can still get it, right? Better than waiting till you need it, or better than waiting until it's just not available. Carrying on. North American Electric Reliability Corporation, NERC's annual summer reliability assessment that forecasts brownouts and blackouts across 2/3 of North America between June and September if there are wide area heat waves, droughts, and wildfires. Do you think that there may be wide area heat waves, drought, and wildfire? If you take a look back the last several years, the probability is probably that there will be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting this out there more and more so that you can understand that now is the time to get prepared. You know, here in Fairbanks, I've noticed the last couple of years, right? I'm not saying that this has happened all the time because I've only lived here about 8 years going on 9. But I noticed that there's a whole bunch of snow blowers, like in Lowe's or Home Depot. There's a whole bunch of snow blowers and they're packed, right, towards the beginning of winter. And they're still there. But once we get that first big snow, you go back the next day and they're all gone. So people just wait until the last minute before they have to buy something. If you hear something in the background, that's just my dehumidifier. I have to turn on a dehumidifier and sometimes even an air conditioner in here just to make sure that the air in here doesn't get too moist and starts molding stuff up. Because I know I'm off track here. This bunker here doesn't really have air circulation. So what I use for air circulation is in the summer, the humidifier. In the wintertime, I've got my heater on, and I also have a small fan in the ceiling, a ceiling fan. So ladies and gentlemen, they're saying that this summer, if it gets hot, that there's going to be brownouts. If there's wildfires, that there's going to be brownouts. So go ahead and make the choice that you want to make as far as getting prepared for brownouts and blackouts according to how you feel your area will do. But let me just say this again. Wouldn't it be better for you to just be prepared and not need it than to need it and not be prepared? And here they say something that just makes sense. They say that wind energy is a concern. Why? Because when you need it, there's no wind. And when you don't need it, there's wind. Right, ladies and gentlemen? Same thing with solar, like I was saying before. New wind and solar are not one-for-one replacements for retiring fossil fuel plants. And that's true. You know, it's going to take a lot more wind and solar as far as probably a footprint to replace the amount of energy that fossil fuel plants were creating in the market. They are not intended to create a reliable grid in isolation. So they're pretty much saying there that they're not intended to work by themselves. That they are, in my opinion, from what they're saying here, is something that I've said in a long time now. That they're a great supplement to fossil fuels. You see, wind and solar, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, it's great. I love wind and solar. I mean, if you watch my channel for any time, you know that I love solar generators. I love getting, energy from the sun. It's great. It's there. Take it, right? And I even have a little wind turbine that I haven't put up yet. I keep saying I'm going to put it up, but I haven't done it yet. But I love wind and solar. I think it's great. As long as it does not destroy nature like wind can do, killing birds and stuff like that. But solar, I think it's great as long as we keep it to a decentralized thing, meaning that anyone that wants to get it can get it, put it on their house, use it, but not for a centralized government to make people go to it. Because wind and solar is up to God, whether he's going to provide us with wind or whether he's going to provide us with sunshine that day in order for us to get that energy from either or. And to finish it off here, ladies and gentlemen, they say that the long-term trend is we are losing dispatchable generation at a rate that is unsustainable and that is going to have a negative consequence in the future. And what they mean by dispatchable generation is that we are losing the amount of electricity that we're producing. We're losing it by shutting down these plants at a faster rate than what we can generate renewable energies at. So we're actually in a deficit Every year we're in a deficit on what we're shutting down compared to what we're producing with new green energy, which in my opinion is not green at all. But this is not a good solution to what's going on, especially in an infrastructure that's aging and in a country that's getting bigger by volume as far as people goes. The long-term trend is we are losing dispatchable generation at a rate that is unsustainable, meaning that they're shutting down these plants that produce energy with fossil fuels faster than what their renewable energy plants are coming up. I hope I said that right, okay? And then here they're being a little sarcastic. They say, but there's the wind, the sun, and the hope that it all works out. The hope that it all works out, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think that maybe before they shut down a fossil fuel plant near you that produces electricity, that maybe they ought to have some other renewable energy plants come up and go online that will produce the same amount of energy or more that that plant that is being shut down produced? Unfortunately, this is the way of the Toto, right? This is the way of a nation turning into a third world nation. Your standard of living will be reduced and reduced and reduced until we the people can't take it anymore, and then they'll stop. And my opinion is that within the next 15, 20 years, our standard of living will be reduced anywhere between 50 to 75% of what it is right now. I mean, take a look at what's happening in New York City. I believe now I read an article here not too long ago that they are tracking how much meat people consume. You would think that they would have more things to worry about, more important things to worry about than tracking how much meat people consume. We live in a crazy world, ladies and gentlemen, but there is always hope, right? Thank you very much for joining in. Go check out that video that I did on the review of the OPS Mega 5. It's awesome. Other than that, have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.